Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, a steaming cup of coffee in hand, staring at a single number on a computer screen: $500,000. For some, it feels like a fortune, the culmination of decades of hard work and sacrifice. For others, it feels terrifyingly small in a world where everything from eggs to electricity seems to be getting more expensive by the day. Is $500,000 actually enough to walk away from your job forever? The answer isn't a simple yes or no, but a roadmap that depends entirely on how you navigate the next few years. Meet Dan and Lisa. They are 60 years old, and after 40 years in the workforce, they are tired. They've managed to save exactly $500,000 in their combined 401k accounts. They own their home, though they still have a small mortgage, and they're dreaming of spending their Tuesdays on the golf course rather than in a cubicle. They have the same question you might have: can we make this work? To find out, we have to look past the big number and look at the math of survival. For decades, the gold standard for retirement planning has been the 4% rule. The idea is simple. If you withdraw 4% of your portfolio in the first year of retirement and adjust that amount for inflation every year after, your money should last for 30 years. For Dan and Lisa, 4% of $500,000 is $20,000 a year. That's about $1,600 a month. When they saw that number, their hearts sank. $1,600 wouldn't even cover their mortgage and property taxes, let alone groceries, insurance, or travel. But the 4% rule is just one piece of the puzzle. Most people over 50 have a silent partner in their retirement: Social Security. If Dan and Lisa wait until their full retirement age, they might collect another $3,500 a month combined. Suddenly, that $1,600 from their savings is a supplement, not the whole story. However, there is a catch. If they retire at 60, they have a 7-year gap before they can claim their full Social Security benefits. This requires a bridge strategy. They would have to burn through their $500,000 much faster in those early years to stay afloat, which significantly increases the risk of running out of money later. Then there is the hidden predator of every retirement plan: healthcare. According to recent estimates, a healthy couple retiring at age 65 may need $300,000 just to cover medical expenses throughout retirement. If Dan and Lisa retire at 60, they also have to pay for private insurance until Medicare kicks in at 65. That could easily cost them $2,000 a month. Suddenly, that $500,000 nest egg starts to look very fragile. To understand how this plays out in the real world, let's look at Sandra. At 58, Sandra felt confident. She had $520,000 in a mix of stocks and bonds. She was planning to retire by 60, thinking she'd lived a frugal life and could make it work. But then life happened. In the span of 6 months, the stock market took a 15% dip, and Sandra faced a sudden $12,000 bill for an emergency roof replacement and a dental procedure not covered by insurance. Watching her account balance drop from $520,000 to $430,000 in a matter of months was a wake-up call. Sandra realized that a static plan, one that assumes the market only goes up and emergencies don't happen, is a dangerous plan. She realized she wasn't ready. But instead of panicking, Sandra regrouped. She decided to work 3 more years, but she changed her approach. First, she attacked her lifestyle creep. She audited her spending and cut out $400 a month in recurring subscriptions and luxury items she didn't truly value. Second, she changed her Social Security strategy. Instead of claiming as soon as possible, she committed to waiting until age 67. By doing this, she increased her monthly check by nearly 30% for the rest of her life. Most importantly, Sandra implemented what we call the bucket strategy. She moved 2 years' worth of living expenses into a cash bucket, high yield savings, and money market accounts. This meant that if the stock market crashed again, she wouldn't be forced to sell her stocks at a loss just to pay her rent. The rest of her money stayed invested for long-term growth. By the time she actually retired at 61, she had a cushion and a plan that didn't leave her at the mercy of the morning news cycle. Sandra's story highlights the two biggest risks you face when retiring with a modest nest egg: sequence of returns risk and longevity risk. Sequence of returns risk is the danger of a market downturn happening right as you begin taking withdrawals. If the market drops 20% in year one of your retirement and you still take out your 4%, your portfolio has to work twice as hard to recover. For many, it never does. Longevity risk is even simpler. It's the risk of outliving your money. With modern medicine, it is not uncommon for retirees to live well into their 90s. If you retire at 60, you need to plan for a 35-year journey. Planning for only 20 years is a gamble where the stakes are your quality of life at age 85. So, how do you know if your 500,000 is enough? You need to stress test your life. Start with a simple checklist. First, do you have a debt-free housing situation? If your home is paid off, $500,000 goes twice as far. Second, what are your must-have expenses versus your nice-to-have expenses? If you can live on your Social Security alone for the basics, your savings are there for the enjoyment. If your savings must cover your heat and food, you are in a higher risk category. Third, consider the one more year power. Working just one extra year does three powerful things. It gives your investments another year to grow, it adds another year of contributions to your savings, and it removes 1 year of withdrawals from the end of your life. For someone with $500,000, that single extra year can sometimes increase their retirement security by 10% or more. If you are looking at your accounts today and wondering if you can make the leap, here is your action plan. First, run your actual numbers. Don't guess. Use a retirement calculator that accounts for taxes and inflation. Remember that $500,000 in your 401k isn't all yours. Uncle Sam is going to take his cut when you withdraw it. Second, stress test your portfolio. Ask yourself, if the market dropped 25% tomorrow, would I still be able to pay my bills? If the answer is no, you might need to adjust your asset allocation toward more stable, income-producing investments. Third, and perhaps most importantly, talk to a fee-only financial advisor. Unlike brokers who work on commission, fee-only advisors have a fiduciary duty to act in your best interest. They can help you create a withdrawal strategy that minimizes taxes and maximizes the life of your money. Retiring on $500,000 is absolutely possible, but it requires discipline, a clear-eyed view of your spending, and a strategy that accounts for the unexpected. It's not just about how much you've saved, it's about how much you spend and how you protect what you have. Every person's number is different because every person's life is different. For Dan and Lisa, 500,000 wasn't quite enough to retire at 60, but by making a few adjustments and working until 63, they found their path to freedom. Sandra found her way by cutting costs and using the bucket strategy. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you done the math on your retirement lately? What's the biggest challenge you're facing as you look at your nest egg? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Sharing your experience helps this community grow stronger and more financially resilient. In our next episode, we're going to tackle one of the most critical decisions in this entire process: Social Security. We'll look at the timing trap and show you how claiming at 62 versus waiting until 70 can result in a $200,000 difference over your lifetime. You won't want to miss it. Until then, keep planning, keep saving, and remember that financial freedom is a journey, not a destination.